Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new episode of Ball Dominant, where we talk all things basketball all the time. I am your host, John Drummond, and today we're going to be talking about the 2024 draft class and my takeaways only 1 month into the NBA season. Now, I've only heard kind of negative things around this draft class coming in and to maybe the first week or two into the draft class, and you're right. This draft class does not have the superstar potential that we've gotten from 23, from 22, from 21, from 2020 to 2019. This is a draft that is full of guys who are role players, complementary pieces, high-level starters. But why is that a bad thing? Why is it a bad thing that starters, high-level starters, some of the best role players in the league could come into the NBA and get this negative light around them like this 2024 draft class has been getting? When I look around the league and I see Isaiah Hartenstein get a deal for about $29 to $30 million a year, when I see the New York Knicks trade for Mikal Bridges and send out 5 first-round picks, when I see them re-sign OG Anunoby to about $200 million, I look at this team and I look at this draft class and say, why aren't these players valuable? Because you would look around the league and say, Isaiah Hartenstein is extremely valuable. Derek White is extremely valuable. Jaden McDaniels is extremely valuable. OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Drew Holiday, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy. These guys are extremely valuable. So when it comes to this 2024 draft class, this might be one of the deepest draft classes we are ever going to see. I'm going to be talking about 8 rookies in this draft class so far. And all 8 of these guys I see having 12 to 15 years in the NBA and being pretty high-level role players or high-level starters throughout that entire tenure. There are specific things that all these rookies do really well that's going to be passed over from year to year to year to year. And you're going to look at these guys in 5 to 7 years and be like, this team would not be who they are without a Dalton Connect, without a Jared McCain, without a Donovan Clingan, without a Zach Edey, without a Zachary Reed-Sachet. These guys are going to translate. These guys are going to be valuable. These guys are going to produce high-level winning basketball. And when you look at some of these rookies, they're doing a lot of things well. But you look at the box score. For example, you look at a Zach Edey or you look at an Alex Sarr and you're like, oh, he's only giving you about 10 points per game, 5 rebounds. He's shooting about 20% from 3. That's not good. But when you watch these players and you say, this guy is really quick on his feet. He makes a lot of rookie mistakes, but you see the potential of him being very versatile defensively. When you look at a Stephon Castle, who may be struggling to shoot the ball right now, you see that, oh, this guy's very tenacious on the perimeter as a defender. This guy is very aggressive when he gets downhill. This guy makes the right decision majority of the time he has the ball in his hand. When you look at Dalton Connect and you see how versatile he is on the perimeter as a shooter and how athletic he is getting downhill, or the fact that he's shooting 80% from the restricted area as a 2-guard in the NBA. There are small things that every single rookie, especially the rookies that I'm going to be talking about, provide for their respective teams that is going to be like, we have to play this guy. I think every single player on this team, on this list that I'm about to mention, is kind of forcing their team's hand. Jared McCain was a guy who we came into the NBA and said, we don't know how much minutes he's going to get playing behind Tyrese Maxey, playing behind a now Paul George, or a Kyle Lowry, who has shown to be a very high-level winner, even at the age that he is at. But with the way he has been playing, forget about the injuries. With the way he's been playing as of recent, even when Tyrese Maxey comes back, you are now forced to give Jared McCain minutes. The same with Ryan Dunn. Ryan Dunn, we all knew, was probably the best perimeter defender, if not the best perimeter defender in the entire draft. But this was a guy coming into the NBA where we almost thought there was no game offensively. We almost thought you had to get creative with his minutes offensively because of the three-point shooting. He only attempted about 7 3-pointers in his collegiate stint, but he now comes into preseason and he's 4 for 5 from 3. He comes into the NBA and he's shooting about 4.5 threes a game on 32%. Now he's forcing the Phoenix Suns' hand to where we can play this guy as small forward. We can play this guy at power forward. Shit, we can even play him at center because that's something the Phoenix Suns have done. So I don't know if I want to take my victory lap on the 2024 draft class just yet, but this is something I've been saying since I started doing my draft analysis. And I've only been doing YouTube for a few months now, so I don't really have the deep catalog of scouting and mock drafts. But when I first started doing my mock drafts, when I first started doing my scouting, I told the world that the production on the box score may not match the value these guys bring in game. That's why you have to watch some of these guys play, and you have to key into some of the things that these guys do. Just the winning plays that some of these guys are able to provide night in and night out in their first month of their NBA career is kind of shocking. So with all that being said, we are going to be talking about Jared McCain to start off this episode. Now, Jared McCain is giving you about 15 points per game so far this season. He's shooting about 47% from the field, and he's shooting about 40% from three. Over the last 6 games, Jared McCain has been averaging 25 points per game, and it's been an extreme uptick in minutes due to Tyrese Maxey being out. And with Tyrese Maxey being out, Jared McCain has showed every single value that he brings for this team. And I always say the biggest, the most portable asset in the NBA is shooting. If you can shoot the ball in multiple different ways and be an above average shooter, you are going to have a spot on all 30 teams in the NBA. Jared McCain, to put into the numbers, he's 50% on catch and shoot threes, he's 62% from the mid-range, and he's 43% on above the break threes. Now, if we look at Jared McCain's play and how he constantly finds the small areas or just the gaping areas in an offense to where he can find himself in that spot and create an open shot for himself. Another thing that I love about Jared McCain is how physical he is getting downhill. That's something that is very underrated in his game because he didn't have the ball much in his hand at Duke. Now that he has the ball in his hand a little bit more, he's a lot more physical getting downhill. He has a very nice stop and pop game in the mid-range. His in-between game is really good. Just said 62% from mid-range, which I don't think is going to hold up throughout an 82-game series or 82-game season, but I think that is something that can hold up to about a 47% and still be a very competent mid-range shooter. And I think it's almost perfect with what the 76ers do. The 76ers have Joel Embiid, who creates some of the most gravity down low. And the fact that Jared McCain can find these gaping holes in the offense to where he can get a motion three-pointer on the left wing or where he can spot up in the corner. And he can do that effectively. A lot of things that we see with rookies is a lot of the time their jump shot does not translate immediately. And Jared McCain's has translated immediately to where he can be a threat on ball because he's a solid creator out of the pick and roll. He makes the right decision out of the pick and roll. He can pass out of double teams. Not only does that make him a threat, but the fact that he is such a great off-ball player and such a lethal shooter from beyond the arc, he's forcing the 76ers' hand to give him minutes. And once again, I don't know if Jared McCain is going to become an all-star. I would love if he did because you guys know I've been a big Jared McCain guy for a very long time. What I'm seeing is somebody who's going to be able to contribute in deep playoff minutes, deep into the regular season, somebody who's going to come in and make his shots and play his role effectively. The next player we're going to be talking about is Dalton Knecht. Now, Dalton Knecht is somebody who is going to make the best situation out of what is around him. And what I mean by making the best situation out of what is around him, as the last 3 games as a starter, Dalton Knecht's giving you 20 points per game. He's shooting 63% from the three-point line on 6 attempts, and he's about 64% from the field on 81% true shooting. Now, I'm bringing up these numbers to show how well he's played with the starting lineup. Do I think these numbers are going to carry out throughout an entire regular season? No. Nobody has ever been able to sustain this amount of efficiency throughout an 82-game season. But what I'm looking at, and it's kind of what I've been looking at with Jared McCain, the most portable asset offensively in the NBA is shooting. And Dalton Knecht is playing with some of the most dominant players that create rim pressure. Anthony Davis is great around the rim. LeBron James still creates a high level of rim pressure around the rim. So what Dalton Knecht is doing is he's taking advantage of that. He's shooting well off the catch. He's shooting well off the dribble. He finishes well around the rim, 80% in the restricted area as a guard. He shows that athleticism getting downhill to where you don't worry about him necessarily getting to the rim. And you want to know why he's shooting 80% around the restricted area? Because he's a very high level cutter. This is a guy that plays off ball at an extremely high level, whether it's cutting to the basket, coming off screens, playing and getting solid threes off the catch. Dalton Knecht does this very well, and that's why he's been starting for the Lakers. Not only that, but his head coach is JJ Redick, somebody who has made an entire career off being a lethal shooter in the NBA and being so slippery off ball. So when we look at a guy like Dalton Knecht, and the more he shoots threes throughout the regular season, the more he knocks down his threes at an above average clip, the more the gravity is going to start to shift to him when he's off ball. And when you have two guys blitzing Dalton Knecht off an off ball screen, now there's somebody open. Now there's guys in rotation. Now there's guys like LeBron James and Anthony Davis who have more of an open lane to get downhill. And that provides a higher level of offense. The Lakers are a team that did not put up a lot of threes last season. They're still not putting up a lot of threes. But you now have Dalton Knecht, who has shown to be a starting level player 1 month into the NBA season and to play with guys like LeBron James and Anthony Davis, who is a top 5 duo in basketball. That is something that is extremely valuable. And that's things I don't think a lot of people notice, because when we look at Dalton Knecht and the three-point shooting that he provides for this Lakers team, you have guys like Austin Reeves, who is a great shooter. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he can be as consistent as Dalton Knecht can. I don't think LeBron James is the shooter Dalton Knecht is. I don't think Anthony Davis is. I don't think Rui Hachimura is. And I don't think that can be replaced in Dalton Knecht's role. So now you're going to get a lot more minutes from him. And this is a thing that I talked about in the beginning. Forcing these teams to give you minutes, especially for the rookies who are playing for teams that are contending for playoff spots and contending for championships. You are forcing their hand to give you minutes, and that's something that Dalton Knecht has done as a starter. That is something I'm going to expect from him throughout the entire season, just to be able to be an above average shooter and to always force defenses to put a hand up and to get out there when he gets the ball. He does make some solid plays with the ball in his hand. He can attack closeouts. Once again, finishes extremely well around the rim. So this is what I'm talking about with the value that some of these guys bring. That's what I'm talking about. And these are the small things that I'm talking about when we talk about the value that they provide. Those are the small things. It's always about the small things with rookies like this, where you're not expecting them to be the face of the franchise, but you're expecting them to be pluses when they come on the court. If we look at a few of his numbers, he's 39% on catch and shoot threes, 80% on the restricted area, like I just mentioned, 57% from mid-range, and 38% on above the break threes. Now, the next player we're going to be talking about is Ryan Dunn. Ryan Dunn so far this season has given you about 7 points per game on 32% from three. On 4.5 attempts, this is a guy that's taken 7 total threes in his college tenure. So when we look at a guy like Ryan Dunn, who's forcing up three, or not forcing up threes, but putting the ball up from three, and now he's such a high level defender already coming into the season, he's forcing the Phoenix Suns' hand to give him minutes. Because when I look at Ryan Dunn, he has the frame, he has the length, he has the athleticism, and he has the speed to be able to be a solid help side rim protector, to be great on ball, to play the passing lanes, to be good in transition, even to be solid enough to set screens and set off-ball screens and to be a cutter, to where this is a guy who provides a high level of basketball. When we look at this team, when he's on the floor, he's making up for a lot of deficiencies of the defense of the guys that are playing next to him. He's making up for some of Tyus Jones' deficiencies by being able to help. He's so athletic and he's so fast. He's able to fly around the perimeter and make up for some of these deficiencies that his players have. Whether it's somebody driving past Tyus Jones, he's able to recover and force the pass. He's really good in rotation. And that's the high level of winning defense that the Phoenix Suns needed. And now you're adding on top of that he's somewhat competent, 32% on 4.5 attempts. That's something that we did not expect from him coming into the season. We're like, this is going to be a great defensive player, but how much are we going to be able to play him because he's almost incompetent completely on offense? So now it unlocks an even higher level of potential if he's knocking down that shot. So who doesn't see OG Anunoby? Who doesn't see OG? Who does not see OG Anunoby offensively? Can grow into a solid three-point shooter, can be a very versatile defender with his frame and with his speed to be able to guard maybe 1 through 4. So that's something that a lot of people aren't talking about. Those are the small things that people don't talk about. They've ran him at center because he's a solid rim protector. He has 2% of his minutes. Now, that's not a lot, but he does have 2% of his minutes at the big man position because the length, the way he's able to just put his arms up and protect the rim, he's pretty good at it. The way he's able to get deflections and get out in transition, the way he's able to guard on the perimeter. He's not small, so you can't just back him down if you're a wing or if you're a guard. He moves extremely well on his feet. Now, I'm not going to be the one to say that he doesn't. He's just the perfect player. There are still times where he shows that he's a rookie. He can be very aggressive at times. He can foul a lot at times. He can make a lot of boneheaded fouls. But these are things that you are going to clean up as once you get more experience in the NBA and you get more experience defensively and you're able to see or sniff out what the offense is trying to do before it even happens. Okay, so those are the four rookies I really wanted to go in depth about. The next three, I'm going to do kind of like a speed round or just say my thoughts on them. Up next, we're going to be talking about Jalen Wells, who per NBA.com is the front runner to win Rookie of the Year 1 month into the season. So far, as a starter, he's giving you about 14 points per game, 47% from the field, 38% from three, and 60% true shooting. And I love the fact that he's been able to step in with Vince Williams and Gigi Jackson out and been able to be that off-ball presence that Ja Morant has needed, because we all know when Ja Morant gets downhill, he creates a lot of collapsing for defenses, and he needs somebody to kick it out to, whether it's Desmond Bane, whether it's Jaren Jackson, whether it's Jalen Wells. He's been able to hit these shots somewhat consistently. He's been able to cut to the basket. He's been able to finish around the rim, and that's all you can really ask for. Next player we're going to be talking about is Zach Edey, who is the heavy preseason favorite to win the Rookie of the Year award. So far, he's averaging about 11 points, 7 rebounds, and a block per game. And he has been solid defensively so far. And one of my concerns I had for Zach Edey, and I was very low on Zach Edey, and I'll take that one to the chin. I said he was not going to be good, but I said some teams should probably give him a chance. Maybe not a contending team, but a team like the Wizards who have nothing to lose at the big man position. So when I look at Zach Edey's game, the rim protection is extremely real. And I know when we look at 1 block per game compared to what other rim protectors are putting up, it's the deterrence for me that Zach Edey provides, where you're not even going up when Zach Edey is in the vicinity of the rim. And I've seen a lot of things where people actively try and hunt out Zach Edey to get him on the perimeter and try and blow past him. And I think you can get the lane, but Zach Edey is so wide and he's extremely lengthy to the point where he cuts off that driving lane. I've seen a lot of guards try and just blow past him extremely quickly, and he cuts off that driving lane to where it impairs or it messes with your court vision to where you can't see past him, and now you don't have the driving lane. So either you're going to have to pick up your dribble and reset, or you're just going to have to force up a bad shot, and Zach Edey may not be able to block it, but it damn sure ain't going in. And once again, this is not a guy that I'm expecting to be able to play up on the perimeter, somebody I'm expecting to move around the court extremely well. But one thing Zach Edey has is one of the best help defenders in the league next to him in Jaren Jackson. So the Memphis Grizzlies aren't going to be asking him to do more than what he is capable of. I think he can guard in the post very well. I think he's a very good rim protector. And once again, you have a guy like Jaren Jackson, who's a former Defensive Player of the Year, right next to him to cover up for some of those deficiencies that he might have early. Another thing I would like to see Zach Edey work on is his touch around the rim. And I think once that happens, he's going to be like a pencil in for 14 or 15 a night. And what I mean by 14 or 15 a night, he's going to get 6 to 8 points off of putbacks alone, just because of how dominant he is, or I see him being as a rebounder. And then once he gets that post hook down pat, or once he gets that running floater down pat that he likes to do in the pick and roll, I even see him be a willing mid-range shooter or a willing 3-point shooter. I don't want to push it that far. I don't know how far along that's going to get. But once he really gets that touch around the basket, he's really going to be a shoo-in for 15-11 and 2 blocks a night. And once again, if you can provide that every single night, you're going to be a solid player for 10 plus years. There's also something really small that he does that I find very valuable. He's playing with one of the best transition guards in the league in Ja Morant. So one thing that he does, even if he's out of the play or not really in the vicinity to get the rebound, he has this wingspan to where if the ball is in his vicinity, he's going to tip the ball out. He's just going to tip the ball out to a Desmond Bane or to a Ja Morant, and we're going to get right into transition, which is something that the Memphis Grizzlies are extremely lethal at. And that's something I see that is very small, but it's something that can lead to so much easy points, because even if he is boxed out, even if he is out of the restricted area to where he maybe can get the rebound, he's going to be able to have a longer wingspan than some of these big men in the NBA. He's going to be able to consistently tip out rebounds to a Ja Morant, to a Desmond Bane, instantly to a ball handler, to keep the Memphis Grizzlies playing at a fast pace. Right now, the Memphis Grizzlies are number 3 in the entire league in pace. And I think Zach Edey keeps up with that. Even if he's not the fastest runner up and down the floor, him being able to tip out those rebounds to a ball handler immediately puts the Memphis Grizzlies in transition, and that's something they're extremely deadly. Up next, we're going to be talking about Zachary Risache, who's giving you about 12 points per game, 4 rebounds, 49% from the field, and 22% from 3. He has a lot of upside, defensively and offensively, because once again, a lot of things that I've been saying with a lot of these players, a lot of these perimeter players, is the off-ball play for me is real. I don't think the ball handling has been what you wanted it to be, but that's kind of expected. We kind of expected for Zachary Risache to come in and be a somewhat decent ball handler, not the best of right now, but I think that's going to get better. But once again, he's creating really open looks for himself off ball to where you have to believe eventually that they're going to start falling. He's been a solid cutter. He's very good off ball on the perimeter and outside of the 3-point line. And the defense for me is really intriguing, because he plays really good has really good transition defense. He's really lengthy, so that helps him recover on a lot of plays where he's guarding a guard. He's really quick on his feet. That's something that is really intriguing for me on the defensive side. Next time you watch Zachary Risache, watch him in transition as well, offensively and defensively. The way he's able to stay in every play, because he immediately goes down the floor. Immediately. And in transition, he's really able to fill the lanes properly to where it gives the main ball handler in the transition situation the space to be able to make that decision. Watch Zachary Risache. Watch Zachary Risache. He's really good. The next player we're going to be talking about is Stephon Cassell, who's giving you about 10 points per game, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. As a starter, he's been giving you 14 points per game, 4 assists, 45% from the field, 39% from 3, and 57% true shooting. Now, so far, Zachary Risache has been creating amazing pressure around the rim. He's extremely physical when he's getting downhill, and he's making the proper decision when he is forced to make these playmaking decisions. Now, obviously, he's been starting at the 2 guard next to Chris Paul, but you are grooming him to become a point guard. And so far, the way he's able to create this pressure and make the play to the open man, or to pass the lob, to throw the lob to Wembanyama, it's really good to me. So far, he's been a plus 6.6 net rating. He's a 66% from 0 to 3 feet, and he's 67% between 10 and 16 feet. The in-between game is really good. He's creating good looks for himself in the restricted area, and he's playing very physical. This is a guy that I think is going to get to the line a lot. This is a guy who we all know the defensive upside is there on the perimeter, being able to guard guards really effectively. And I think he's a really good defender to be next to Wembanyama, because he plays well on his feet. And if he does get beat, he has one of the best defenders in the league right behind him. And last but not least, we're going to be talking about Alex Sarr, who's averaging about 10 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 2 blocks per game. And this is a guy who I see can be one of the better defenders in the NBA. With the way he moves on the perimeter, the way he's able to block shots, the way he's able to play help defense. It's just the offense is a very big question mark right now. Right now, he's shooting about 20% from the 3-point line, and he's shooting about 1 for 5. And I don't know if you want Alex Sarr shooting 5 threes a night, at least not right now. Maybe cut it down to 2 or 3, but 5 may be a little extreme for me. He just had his best game. I think it was about 20 points, 7 rebounds, 7 stocks. I think it was 3 blocks, 4 steals. And you really saw what he can be defensively with his ability to guard on the perimeter and his ability to block shots. He's also very good in transition. I think I saw a few plays in that Hawks-Wizards game where he was kind of used how Evan Mobley was used, where you get the ball off the rebound and you go immediately into transition. That is something for a big man should be very valuable, and we should be using that a lot more in Alex Sarr's game instead of him trying to shoot 3-pointers. That's not me saying he's never going to become an average 3-point shooter, but that's just something I would not expect from him in his first month of his career. I also think he's going to be an amazing lob threat. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is my take on the 2024 NBA draft class. Once again, I have not watched every single rookie. I have been trying to keep my eyes open on a lot of them. So, once again, if you guys like this type of content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know in the comments section what rookies you guys want me to talk about next. And If you guys like this type of content, or if you guys like the content that I provide, you can find me on TikTok at the Buzzer Sports. You can find me on Twitter at ATB Sports 1. Don't really post much on Twitter. I'm gonna try and start doing that a little bit more. But yeah, man, if you guys like this content, like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be doing a giveaway at 1,000 subs, so stay tuned for that. And I'm out. Peace.